I've gone back and forth about whether or not I wanted to record this episode. Not because I'm afraid to tell the truth is my frequency, but because I know what it feels like to be vulnerable, hopeful, ambitious, driven, determined, and to get swept into something that ends up hurting more than it helps. This episode is not a takedown of the coaching industry, but it is a reckoning and a redirection. And it's for the woman who's done outsourcing her power, and it's for the leader and entrepreneur who's looked around and thought, am I crazy? Or is this whole industry starting to feel off? I want you to know you're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. I've lived this. I felt scammed, foolish, manipulated, embarrassed, and have had over 50 people reach out to me about this. And I've also felt grateful for the growth that's come through this. And that's the thing. The industry is not all bad. Of course, nothing ever is. But I do believe that we have to get radically honest about what is not working so that we can build something new, something that is rooted in truth, in service, and embodiment, in love, in contribution. Um, and yeah, so if you've ever had a negative experience with the coaching industry, or even questioned like if you were going crazy, you're definitely not alone. This episode is going to be pulling back the curtain on the underbelly of the coaching world and what the future of leadership must look like. Now, I have spent the last 6 to 9 months taking time away from all of these experiences, feeling my feelings, processing emotions, so that I could come here and create this episode and this piece of content for you on the other side of everything. I do believe that we need to process our life experiences before we can go on to talk about them and teach them and alchemize them. And so, fortunately, I am on the other side of that. And so, I really am. I'm excited to have this conversation because I don't know of anyone having it. And whether it's because people are too afraid to share or what have you, I just know that Source was like, okay, you're going to be the one to say the thing. And so here we go. Now, while I was prepping for this recording, I was doing a good amount of research, and something I came across was a New York Times article that basically just said that somebody spent their entire life savings on coaching and felt empty and disappointed. And I know that that story has been a common one. And so I want to start off with some of my personal story and context for even why I'm recording this in the first place. And then I'm going to be sharing basically what you can do about it, why this even happens in the industry, and what I believe is next for the industry, because there is so many shifts happening. And when I put out a kind of teaser of like a sneak peek on my Instagram stories, it also got reshared to Threads, which I actually never go on, but it got a bunch of traction over there. And there was definitely a conversation happening about all of these experiences that people were having. And so I know that I'm not the only one. I mean, I truly have had probably between 30 to 50, I can't keep track, conversations with people about their experiences. And, I've just kind of listened and shared my experience. But I do think that we're moving into a new era of leadership. We also just entered the age of Aquarius. And it's part of the reason why my podcast and my YouTube channel is now moving in the direction of high frequency leadership. It does feel like the embodiment of all the work that I'm here to teach, but I think it's actually very timely for where things are going. I think a lot of people have felt like they've outgrown the coaching industry, or they want to, this industry that we've poured so much money and time and love into, we're like, what the heck? How has it become this? And so, yeah, we're going to go on that journey together today. So let's start off with my personal story and some context to set the scene. Um, I would say that my relationship with the coaching industry is complicated. I have had my fair share of really positive transformational experiences. I have worked with people who have absolutely changed my life, changed the trajectory of my life, changed how I've seen myself, changed me. And I still feel gratitude. Sometimes I'm out for a walk and I just think of one of these people and I just feel so much gratitude. Like I get goosebumps and I just am like, wow, like fucking thank you so much, you know? And sometimes I message them and I'm like, I just, reminiscing on all the good times. But then there's other experiences that I've had where that hasn't been the case. And I felt like all these people wanted was my money, or I was sold one thing and delivered or not delivered another. And, when you are a smart person, which you are, I am, it's like when you feel like you've been scammed or taken advantage of or lied to, you're like, how in the hell did this happen? Like, how did I let this happen? Honestly, I felt so much shame. I felt guilt. I felt anger. I felt rage. I felt confusion. I felt, Mm. I felt apathetic. I was just like, what? How? And if like I'm a smart person and this is happening in my life, like I can only imagine, you know? And I think that my experience always has been, how can I extract the goodness out of this experience? I don't know if it's the Sagittarius in me, the optimist in me, but I do try to see the positive in every situation. What did I gain from this? And so we're going to talk about how to reframe these situations, but I do believe that the darker side of my coaching industry experiences has led me to having the skill of discernment, which is what we're going to talk about in a little bit. The skill of discernment is a skill that I don't believe most people have, not because of anything other than we aren't taught it. And most people do not have good discernment. And it's because they are disconnected from their body. The majority of the world is living in a very disembodied state. You cannot have discernment without actually trusting your gut. And all the times that I've had a negative experience, it was often because I overrode my gut instinct and I let them sell me or I let them convince me, whatever, you know? And so I'm grateful and I'm also like, wow, because the industry has shaped me, but it also harmed me, you know? And I think there's cult-like aspects to the industry. I think there's really positive aspects to the industry, but overall, I just wanted to validate the experience that so many people have had about the industry. I think there's a lot of things wrong with the industry. We're not going to get into all those crazy things today because that's not what I care about. I really care about showing up and leading with integrity and truth and contribution. But I do think it's an important conversation to have so that you can use discernment when you are making investments and when you are choosing to participate in the industry. Now, I think that the way that this has kind of come to be is that, first of all, the industry is unregulated. We know this. But second of all, there's been a huge influx into the industry. It's actually the fastest growing sector in the market as of 2024, at least. And the predictions in terms of value and net worth are in the billions. It's crazy. And it's truly because we as a society want to evolve. We want to grow. We want to be better. I think as leaders too, we are always on this search and evolution for more abundance, more freedom, more fulfillment, right? And so we are participating in this personal development and personal growth industry, which is amazing. Where the problem lies is when manipulation is disguised as leadership. And I think this shows up mostly in this interesting dynamic where we have the narcissist and the codependent or the empath. Now, when I say that, what I mean is, now I've never been in a narcissistic relationship, romantic relationship, and I'm very grateful for that. But my friends that have been in a narcissistic relationship are often highly sensitive, highly empathic, highly intuitive, and they end up being vulnerable and victims of narcissists. And it's like a match made in heaven. And I think that that dynamic is happening in the coaching industry. There's this love bombing. There's this, I promise you, I'm going to give you all the things. I'm going to do all the things. And there's a lot of promise at the start, but then there's a lack of delivery, right? Or there's just straight out lying where the person is selling one thing and then they're not actually delivering on the back end. that's a problem, okay? That is a definite problem. That's a legal problem also. Now, the other thing that I recognize in this false sense of leadership is like this high pressure sales strategy, but it's like kind of disguised as being feminine. It's so wild, the nuanced situation that happens, but I've witnessed somebody who's like, I teach feminine embodiment and feminine business on the front. But on the back, there's like gaslighting, manipulation, and pushing and pushing and pushing and high pressure. And that's just not cool. Okay. Um, the other stuff is like the spaces themselves are just not being led by people who have healed their stuff. Yeah, sure, we're on an evolution of always letting go of stuff, but like you must be discerning with who you invest in and who you like what spaces you allow yourself to be in. If somebody is like, "Oh my god, my space is so safe. My space is so safe." I, I would be nervous. I would be nervous because if your space, if the whatever you're hosting is actually safe, chances are you won't need to say it, okay? Yeah. The other thing is just like the the weird situation of all of the people being mentored by the same person. I think that that is a red flag for me. The coaches coaching, whatever. That whole thing, it's just it's weird to me. Um I don't know. Maybe you agree, but it's strange to me. It doesn't feel right to me. I can't quite put my finger on what that is about. It obviously gives MLM vibes, but it's not even about that. And there's no problem with MLMs, but there's something off with that whole line, okay? I think that most people think that they need more strategy or something, but I truly believe with this conversation, what people need is discernment, okay? And I had to learn this lesson, and I've continued to learn this lesson. And the only way that you're gonna learn discernment is by making decisions, and some of those decisions will not be the decision that you will make again because you're like, "Well, I learned from that one." Okay? I truly believe discernment is the skill of this era of high frequency leadership. Now, I wanna just, like, I wanna talk about, like, why this is all even happening in the first place. This has been a theme, a trend, it's been started to be talked about. I think people have full accounts talking about the bullshit that's happening in the industry. I have no desire to do that. I wanted to make one episode that's comprehensive and then move the fuck on, but I really did want to address this because I have a very unique experience in that I've been in the industry for 8 years. I've taught in pretty much every single niche that you can teach in, from fitness coaching, nutrition coaching, life coaching, business coaching. I mean, everything, okay? Relationships. And I've invested in a lot of coaching, and I've also coached a lot of people, probably almost 3,000 at this point. So I've seen a lot. And so I think that the direction of the industry is definitely changing. People are not buying, and they're not buying like they used to, which is good because we as buyers and your clients, they have more sophistication. They should have more sophistication. They should have more discernment. And I want to empower you too to have more discernment. The reason why I think that this whole thing has happened where like you get into this cycle of over investing and just keep going in a circle and keep going in a circle and buying into these like very high emotional states. Like purchasing from a very, very high emotional state is not a healthy practice. That is like gambling. Okay. It's the same exact thing. You just are guising it under the umbrella of personal growth. So I want you to have discernment. I want you to make these decisions from a place of neutrality and resonance. But that's not what happens. And so I want you to be discerning in the process of investing in yourself. I'm not saying to not do it, obviously. Like that's going to be a forever thing as a leader. It's inevitable. But when you do it, just make sure that you're not somebody who is letting the other person call the shots and convincing you when your gut is like, no. Or when you're like, I feel like this person just wants my money. When you're an empath, when you're highly sensitive, when you're a light worker, when you're a little starseed being, when you're somebody who knows she is sensitive, you are vulnerable. And so I want you to develop this healthy masculine energy, which is the skill of discernment. Discernment is one of the most powerful skills you can have as a leader. And you're going to need it. You're going to need it to discern where to put your resources, where to put your time, where to put your energy, who to say yes to, who to say no to, what opportunities to say yes and no to. And it will be a skill you forever hone. Okay? But the cultural conditioning and the trap of all of this is that inherently we are tribal beings. We crave community. We just want to belong. Even more so as women, as we are healing the sisterhood wound, as we are healing this witch wound, as we all are starting to come more together in community, and women are taught to outsource their power. So then what happens is vulnerability is preyed on, and maybe you've been preyed on. And you're not a victim. Here's the thing. You're not a victim. And if this has happened to you, I just want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry and I'm happy for you, because I'm sorry because it sucks. It's not a fun lesson to learn, but I'm happy for you because you've learned the skill of discernment in that area of your life, and you're going to keep doing it. And that's why I feel grateful and simultaneously like, oh my gosh, because it's both. It's always both. It is the ultimate duality. And I want to remind you that there's many ways to access community and access belonging. And actually, I am in the process of creating a free but very like high frequency space and community just to have my people. Especially as a podcast listener, I realize like there's no space for all of the listeners of my show to go and hang out and be together. And it will not be on Facebook. I'm just letting you know, because I hate Facebook. It will be in like a private community setting, and I haven't figured that out yet exactly, but I have an idea. So I do believe there's many ways to get community. All that I'm saying is that's often why this happens. I know for me, I also did this, especially when I was a van lifer. Full-time van life, you would think would be like super community oriented, but it's not, because you are only in a place for so long, right? So I was really craving that community, which is not a problem. But again, discernment, make those choices wisely. But I do believe that we are entering a new chapter, and that's what I'm like the most excited about. I want to obviously speak to all the problems and the issues, to shed light and to empower you and to teach you the skill of discernment. But also, we are entering a new chapter, and that new chapter is high frequency leadership. Okay. It's not performative. It is just resonant. It is truth. It is integrity. It is contribution. There's been so much performative spirituality happening all over the industry. And it honestly, at one point, made me think, do I even want to be in this? And when I had that thought, I was like, well, what else would I do? I'm like, well, I could get my real estate license. Well, I don't fucking know, because this is all I want to do. So it's my only option, and maybe for you, it's not the direction you want to go, but that's okay. You get to follow whatever really is lighting you up. For me, this does light me up. Speaking and being a thought leader and all that does light me up. And so I'm like, well, maybe I needed to go through this to share the story, to lead this new movement. And so that's the new chapter that we are entering as a collective. High frequency leadership, okay? It's not performative. It's not ego-based. It's not egocentric. It's not look at me. It's not, oh my God, I have the bajillion-dollar house and this and this and this. We're over it. Guys, we are fucking over it. We want authenticity. We want vulnerability. We want connection. We do not want you shoving your house in our face. We do not want shoving, oh, I made $2 million this month. Who cares? Who fucking cares? Nobody cares anymore. Like, we're over it. Cool. Good for you. We are moving into a era of embodied truth, love, and integrity. And I'm telling you, the industry will break down because it can't survive the way that it's been working, because there has been so much corruption. But that's like how life is going to go. The next like 20 years, that's what's going to happen. Not just in the coaching industry, in every industry. Power structures are breaking. Systems that are rooted in manipulation and egoic shit are going to break because they can't sustain themselves anymore. It's like once the smoke and mirrors are illuminated, it's like you can't go back. So the new era of this high frequency leadership, this is leading without manipulation. This is vulnerability, authenticity, connection, and it's transparency over performance. I don't know about you, but I like literally don't give a shit how much money you make. It's just so, it's like, can you actually help me break through to my next level? Or can you help me solve this problem or whatever? Like, I don't care. And I love the conversation of money. And we're going to talk so much more about money and like, oh my God, all the juicy things money. But I have no interest and I will likely never disclose that about myself anymore. It doesn't feel important. It doesn't matter. I just know I can help you in all the other areas, right? So just think before, if you are somebody who has shared financial wins, share them. I love celebrating money, celebrate that money, but make sure that's not your whole personality. Make sure that's not your whole identity. When making $2 million a month, or I'm just using a random ass number, I don't know, but like whatever amount of money you're making a month, don't make that your personality. That is so boring. Like, what? And this is, I've recognized that because, I was doing my own shadow work on this. I'm like, is this like judgment and jealousy? And I'm like, no, it's really not. It's just straight up, this is weird. No other industry does this. No other industry just brags about how much money they make on the internet. It's so shallow. And honestly, I just find it quite strange. And I will say there's a few people in my life who do this in a very classy way, but guess what? They only talk about it like twice a year. Why? Because they have nothing to prove. Most people who are talking about their income all the time have something to prove. So, just going to put that there. Now, moving into the high frequency leadership and what is to come and how you can really build a brand that is rooted in authenticity and build a brand rooted in authenticity, but also staying in alignment. I think that it's probably going to be the most challenging thing for you, for us as light workers. And I use the word light workers, whether you're familiar with that term or not. I really see light workers being entrepreneurs and leaders who are here to raise consciousness, who are here to help the planet actually up level. And that's a really big mission. And maybe you identify with the word starseed or a new earth visionary or just a visionary or a leader, whatever you want to identify with. There is this feeling of like, I am here to do good. I'm here to make impact. And if you actually look around at all of the people who are doing that, they are not participating in this gaslighting, manipulative, shame-filled, you need to buy my shit or else you're going to not be successful way. And I would steer very far away from those people. You want to be investing with and being in rooms with people who empower you, who help you remember who the fuck you are, not who help you feel inadequate. That's not it. So please be discerning and read into the subtle energy under what people are saying. Like, that's all. I want you to be careful. This is like mama bear energy right now. This is my Cancer rising. Like, the only Cancer in my chart is my rising. Everything else is like Capricorn and Sagittarius. But it's like the Cancer in me is like, please, honey, take care of yourself, okay? Because at the end of the day, you've got to have you. And this skill of discernment is going to be something that you continue to build and evolve. And it's something that I've really fucking worked on in the last probably 6 to 9 months of being like, well, that right there was an area for opportunity. And that right there was, I'm so glad I listened to myself, right? So I really just want you to reclaim your discernment. And I'm curious, if this is landing, I want you to comment in on YouTube or on Spotify, because that's where you can leave comments. Let me know if this lands for you and just like what this is bringing up for you. Are you also on the path of this high frequency leadership? Do you identify with being a starseed or a visionary or a light worker? Like, how do you associate yourself? How do you actually identify yourself? I know that I've been sharing so much content on TikTok about being a new earth leader. And these terms were like channeled to me in a meditation maybe a month ago. And I started using them and it started freaking landing. I mean, my TikToks go viral all the time. And I truly believe there is a huge group of us, light workers and leaders and starseeds and visionaries and those who are really here to spread truth and uplift, that are like, where's my home? Where's my home? And those are the people, when they're vulnerable, are desperate to buy into something. That's why I'm going to create this free community. And when I say free, I have gone back and forth on this. I'm like, oh, what do I want it to be? Brr, brr, brr. Well, it's going to be like the home. It's going to be the space for us to congregate. So just stay tuned on that. I will be talking about it more and more because I'm like, there's no place. There's no place. And I love teaching. It's one of my favorite things to do. And, I'll be coming out with some fun courses towards the end of this year on like starting your podcast, growing your podcast, brand building, like all of these amazing things that I've truly mastered. But in terms of the community, I really wanted to like just have a space for all of you that listen to this show and listen to me and like my core values and like my vibe and want to be in like the energy of this conversation to have a place to land. So stay tuned, okay? But moving forward, just know that there is a space and that there is a reckoning, there is an evolution, there is a awakening, and you can be part of that. You don't have to like isolate yourself because you've had a negative experience. I want to give you hope because I went through probably 6 months of fucking feeling so much shame, anger, rage, guilt, just feeling straight up dumb of like, how did I get the rug pulled out from under me? How did someone throw a blanket over my eyes and take my money? No, I gave them my card. Like I did that, right? And I can own that and you can own that. But I think that, when you've felt this energy of being scammed or being fooled or being manipulated or it's a really shitty feeling. And so if you've been there or you are there, I want to first validate that. I want you to know you're not crazy. I want you to know you're not broken. I want you to know you're not alone and that there are people like myself and this community that we're building that truly fucking care about you, love you, want the best for you, and want to empower you. Not everyone is that, unfortunately. And I think this is maybe my 8 years in the industry and being jaded and seeing the full spectrum. But keep in mind, we do live in a universe of duality. It's not all love and light. It's not. And when you are highly sensitive, when you are empathic, it's easy to think everyone else is going to be that way. It's like you care about people. So of course everyone's caring about you and has everything in your best interest. Well, no. Okay. So it is up to you though, to have the skill of discernment, to be able to make choices for yourself. It's not the responsibility of somebody else. And so I want you to take your power back in that way and to be able to make decisions from that place of truth and from that place of sovereignty and power and authority that are going to help you move the needle ahead in your unique life situation, your unique business, whatever you are leading right now. Okay. You're not crazy. The whole industry is feeling off for sure, but it's also going somewhere else. And I do think that because of that, there's so much room and opportunity to follow in this new direction that we're going. High frequency leadership. That's what this show is going to be all about. That's what my content's going to be all about. That's what this free community space that I'm building is going to be all about. It's like how to show up in your life, how to show up from a place of power, from truth, from contribution, from impact. And of course, yes, money is important and we want to build wealth and yes to generational wealth. And yes. But money is the fuel, not the focus within high frequency leadership. It's just not. When money becomes the focus, we're out of alignment. Money is the byproduct of contribution. If you truly are contributing, which is just making content, you are making content consistently, showing up consistently, you will never have to worry about money. I'm telling you right now. And I'll be talking more about that, content, all that stuff, because I've gone viral many times and I understand content. I just want you to know that you will be taken care of when you listen to your soul assignment, when you follow on this high frequency leadership path, and when you truly show up from a place of service, integrity, truth, and contribution. Okay. I really hope that this landed for you. Please make sure that you're subscribed and you're following the podcast and you're following the YouTube channel because we're going to go deep. We're going to talk about all of these things, all of these topics from power, money, visibility, showing up, and just leading yourself, leading others, how to do that, especially in this new paradigm. Okay. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. And if this resonated, please comment below. Unfortunately, I'm not able to respond to all of your DMs. I try my best. It's just sometimes it's a little crazy. So you're gonna get a response from me better if you just comment, whether it's on this Instagram video or TikTok video or YouTube video or Spotify. Like just comment and let me know what's resonating, what's landing. If you want more of this, yeah. And I'm really excited to just keep this conversation going because I do think that this is what is needed right now in the era that we are truly in. Okay. I love you. Go use your discernment. Remember who the fuck you are and stick around for more empowering content.